Standing here with trainer Bob Baffert, three-time Kentucky Derby winner, with one of the top horses in his barn right now, Midnight Loot. And Bob, first tell us a little bit about the experience of what happened at Breeders' Cup Day.
Well, Midnight Loot broke a little slow, and I thought he didn't have a chance. It was a very sloppy racetrack that day, and he must have been back about 20 lanes. And I thought he had no chance at all. And quarter pole, all of a sudden he started picking up horses, and he ended up winning the race by 4 lanes. So he really put on a show that day, and he ended up being sprint champion for the year. So.
When you say he showed a nice turn of foot, I think the word was explosive. Was a lot of people said that they just couldn't believe the turn of foot the horse actually showed through the stretch. Did that really surprise you, or did you know he had that in him?
Well, we know his style is coming from off the pace. He's a big, long striding horse, and what happens is his stride is so big that eventually he's taking, other horses are taking 2 strides to his 1 stride, and once he gets in contact with them, the other horses, I think they know, they just kick it in, they just quit running. They know that it's just like when you're a little kid and you're running against somebody, you know that he's beating you, you stop running, and what he does is when he does that to him, it jerks the heart out of the other horses. Inside
Our Game, this horse is actually featured as one of the top horses for our 2007 series. The jockeys Inside Our Game, our players, any tips or advice on how they should ride the horse inside the game?
Well, with Midnight Loot, he got beat later on. You can't take too much of a hold of him. He's one of these horses going short. He's going to be chasing the pace a little bit. He's going to be further back. If he's going to go a mile or so, you want to keep him a little bit closer.
So we have a lot of your horses actually inside of our game. Which 2 horses would you like to see in a matchup, and how would you suggest to our players how they should ride each one?
Well, I would love to see my Derby winners in the gate together. We have War Emblem, who is a speed horse. He had to be in the lead. I had Real Quiet and Silver Charm. So I would like to see those 3, how they would ended up in the race. I know War Emblem would have led them. Silver Charm would have been stalking, and Real Quiet would have been a little bit further off the pace, but it would be a great matchup to see if they could catch War Emblem.
What we do inside the game is we try to confuse the players by moving the horses to different surfaces, turf to dirt. Is there anything that you can look at from a horse's past performance line that might indicate a horse might be able to make that change going from dirt to turf or turf to dirt?
It's the fact that they don't like the dirt in their face. They don't like the kickback. That's why some turf horses run very well on synthetic tracks, because they're not getting that sand, that dirt, pounding them in the face, and so they seem like they'll stay in there a little bit longer than the dirt track.
And you've been doing thoroughbred racing for how long now?
Well, I've been training horses since I was probably 14, 15 years old, but I came over here in like 1988. I started dabbling with the thoroughbreds, and I loved quarter horse racing. It was fun. I learned a lot from it. I think I brought a lot of my experience from quarter horses to here. Thoroughbred racing was totally different. I had to learn. There's so much involved in thoroughbred training. Not only do you get your horse ready, but then you have to figure out, you have to be like part handicapper. You have to figure out where to run your horse, what rider to use on them. Where quarter horse racing is just a controlled runaway, basically.
Gate opens and you
Gate opens, you better be up there.
Ready. Hold on.
You don't need goggles. If you need goggles, you're in trouble.
What's the thing that drives you back to go through that, to keep staying with this game over and over again?
Well, I think it's what drives anybody in any business or whatever. I have a passion for the horses. I love the horses. I love being around the horses ever since I was a little boy, and I think that's what keeps me going. I love coming here in the morning and you're around horses. They can't talk back to you, and it's a dangerous sport. Things can happen, and but it's one of those things where the rewards are so great. You just can't put a price on when you win a big race, and that's what makes it so fantastic.
There's so much going on, and we don't really want to overwhelm them. What would you advise to a first-time person coming to the racetrack, from the betting aspect to what to see, what to enjoy, and just overall, what you think?
Well, I mean, I've talked to a lot of professional gamblers, and what they do is they might not play every race. If they don't like the race, they'll just stay away from it. I've seen some guys just play numbers. I've seen some guys everybody has their own little, and just feel for it and then look at them in the paddock, see how they look, if they look, if they look healthy, if they look right,
Healthy athletes feel good on their toes, kind of? Is that
yeah, they look right. The horse, the only way he can express it the way he feels is by looking at their eyes, that expression. You don't want a horse that looks like he's quiet and just completely like he's sleepy or whatever, and you don't want one that's too rambunctious, but they can also run a big race also, but they can mislead you. I mean, I've had horses like Silver Charm and like Indian Blessing. They're in the paddock, they have their head down, they're quiet, they're sleeping, but then the gate comes open, they're gone.
From our game perspective, you took a look at it. Can you give us just your quick overview feedback of what do you think the game is and how do you think it might be able to help the sport?
Well, I think our sport is very it can be very intimidating, especially for gamblers. And I think this will take the intimidation factor out of it, so when they do come to the races, they sort of have an idea of what to expect, what is going on, and make you think a little bit more. And there's nothing like that's why people come to the races. You're always you're betting against each other, so you're always trying to outsmart the other guy. And and when a guy hits at the racetrack, they're running around. They can't wait to show you their winning ticket.
Right.
I've never had a guy show me their losing ticket. They get quiet, but it's a fun sport, and I think this will really take that little the puzzle. It makes it easier for them, and an intimidation factor so that when they do come, they don't they'll know how to read a form, they'll know how to read the track, the pace, the slop. There's a lot of little things that you can learn in that game, and it's very important.
We've been here with Bob Baffert, three-time Kentucky Derby winner, considered one of the greatest trainers of all time. Bob, we want to thank you very much for giving us your time this morning.